Thank you all for joining me here tonight. I am officially live here. It's been maybe about a week, maybe even longer than a week, since I decided to do a little bit of behind the scenes, up and close and personal God pale wisdom. Um, is what I seek to give you some spirituality here. Um, Exclusively from me and me only, alone on my personal channel here. Um, so this is going out for a first time here on Periscope and on a new channel too. I just thank you guys for just joining me here and on this wonderful journey here. And I'm looking forward to um, doing this more more often more often you know um, than what I've been doing it. So look forward to just uh, just doing this, every week. So every Monday is what when I do this. Hello, how you doing, player? You know what's going on, player. Uh, so um, so yeah, so it's. Do we ask questions? Yeah, you can ask questions. Feel free to ask questions. My topics today is all about depression. Dealing with it, how to problem solve. When you're dealing with it. So this is strictly open forum right here. So this is my first broadcast on Periscope. Greetings to you. Thank you, my good friend. So it's good to have you here. I'm also simulcasting to YouTube as well. So shout out to my YouTube people as well out there. So yeah, this depression thing, I myself, I've been, personally been battling it for a very, very long time. And along the way, how do you handle it? So that is the $1 million question. Especially if you've been dealing with it for a long time. If it's chronic, like the way it is for me, what I but now that I have some proper tools now is now it's more of like, when things happen in the world, when there's increased stress in my life, and when the seasons are changing over, I'm able to observe it now. I think the first thing to do is to observe, to learn how to be an observer. You know, I think so much of uh, our issue um, with being in depression is like, yeah, so we can talk about it. So one is observing, and then the next thing you write is talking about it. So you we don't want to talk about it. We don't want to get those things out. We do let it sit in there and further depress us. And but what I found is like, you know um, what I found is, thank you for putting that down. What I found is, though, is like, when you actually observe rather than ruminate on the thought. Sometimes, like, we will sit there, we'll ruminate about what we depressed about. Sometimes we don't even know why we depressed. So we'll sit there, we'll ruminate about why we depressed in the first place. So and so this is how we start the problem solving process, by observing, then talking about it. So how do you talk about it? So that'll be the next thing. Being transparent, of course. You have to be willing to be vulnerable. Sometimes we can feel very, very depressed. When we are depressed, we feel, oftentimes we feel guilty. We feel like we feel very shameful. So you got to be willing to be vulnerable. Uh, so, um, so yeah, that will go along with talking about it. It is definitely a mental battle. You are very right, my friend. Depression is a mental battle. It is a tug of war within yourself, a tug of war in the head, um, and then as you continue to have this tug of war in the head, you feel it all throughout the body, and that's what causes the body to want to shut down because all of that emotion, all of that mental energy that you're exerting, is further also being felt throughout the body. So talking about it, and then you want to start getting yourself moving. So you got to get moving. Most times when we depress, what we want to do, we want to sit in the bed. You got to get moving. Yeah, definitely in the mind. So we got to get moving, and and it's hard to get moving, and but the best way to get yourself moving is to look around you, start small, start small, do something small, because most times, when we get into these depressed states, there's usually something else outside of us that's disorganized too. Of course, if you've been depressed for a couple of days, maybe the house has began to clutter up, or maybe there was clutter before, and maybe there was some clutter in one area of the house that you didn't pay attention. Music, movement is definitely a necessity. So I like that. I like how you worded that. Thank you for that. So you have to get moving, and you have to look at what you can do to at least start to get yourself moving. Sleep will definitely overtake you. Sleep, will definitely continue to drain your energy. And if you don't have any energy, um, it's just going to make it more easier for you to just sit there to further you get stuck in those thoughts and go down that dark rabbit hole. So once we get the move in, and once we find something little, you can start with with a few dishes, and don't have any judgment. Don't have any judgments. Don't assume anything. Don't make any assumptions. Don't make any judgment about how well you're doing something. Sometimes we make these judgments and assumptions about, like, oh, well, I'm doing this horrible, I'm not at 100%, so I'm not going to do it at my very best, so what's the use? Well, the use is that you, at least you're doing something. At least you at operating at more than 0%. If you can get yourself to at least about 20%, that's good. Because you get that momentum going. So the next thing will be to get that momentum going, is keep that momentum going. And once you have that momentum going, um, you know, you would be able to carry yourself through, to then be able uh, to realize that, like, hey, I got some momentum going here. Why not? Uh, why don't I just, at least, find some purpose? No judgment, no assumption. So yeah. So if you got some momentum, you can start, well, rewarding yourself then slowly. Reward yourself for making it through some days. Now, just a week ago, 2 weeks ago, when I was feeling this way, I rewarded myself by going to get a haircut. So, because I seen that, like, okay, you know maybe I wasn't doing I wasn't as effective as I was before getting in that depressed state. Um, but at least I noticed I had some momentum going. At least I saw I was at, I went from 20% to 50. You know, and so I said I rewarded myself, to keep that momentum going. So next thing will be to just reward yourself with something. You can do something small. If money is the reason why you're depressed, if you got something to cook in the house, maybe cook yourself a little meal or take a nice warm hot bath, to release and unwind. Put on your favorite movie, put on a good book. Read a good book. Uh, so those type of things, and you'll be surprised, or just comedy. Uh, do you hang with around other depressed people? I'm going to suggest, if it's not in a group setting, um, where you're supporting each other, while you're going through it, I don't recommend doing it, if you're having an episode. If you're not having an episode, you can be a good support to them. Now, now, in your episode, now if you're in your episode and they're not in the episode, you can be a good support. They can be a good support to you. So, but like if you're both in a severe episode, it's not helpful to each other. You're not helpful to each other. Then it's best that you guys meet up in a group situation, and then you get around others who share, who can share in your guys' pain, who may not be going through an episode at the moment, and it's a controlled environment, and then you guys can bounce ideas off each other. Um, I'm asking, how do you get over it? How do I get over? Are you asking how do I get over being around other depressed people, or are you asking how do I personally get over being depressed? Because I'm going through some tools here. So yeah. So as I wait on your response, I will continue. So player, I greatly appreciate your input here. You definitely, got the brain turning in. And so the the next thing would be, you know, um, what if people you love is causing the depression? That is huge. So so to answer that question, that's the second question. So 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 the now to answer that question, now I had to attend an event, that I knew I wasn't going to be 100% at, and I knew that there's one person at that event that usually, I love that person, dearly, but for some reason, they are an energy drainer, so you can just feel them draining you. You can just feel them causing the depression. Um, so what happened, what I realized what I had to do. I had to, monitor, how long I can be around the person. And I knew how long I could. I said to myself, okay, I'm not going to, allow myself to, spend X amount of time, around this person, because I know, this is a trigger for me. So, so I'm going to, do you just let them go? Good question, player. So, if it's a person that you cannot avoid, then that's part of your family. Of course you can't. You're going to see them. You're going to eventually see them. But if it's like, if we're talking more of like somebody you're in a relationship with, um, and but you want to keep the relationship, then you're going to have to make some adjustments, and start, finding a way to communicate differently with this person, limit communication, uh, limit communication with this person until like either you guys either something changes in the situationship because it's not at this point it's not a relationship, it's a situationship. If this happened to be a close friend that you knew for a long time, close friends are kind of hard to come by, but you do have a choice on how often you choose to hang with this person. You can just like choose to like talk to this person maybe once a week. Yeah, continue to limit the conversation. Just limit the conversation. Just let the person know, like, hey, hey, I got to run. Nice talking to you. I'll get back in touch with you soon. And you just continue to do that. And you know, you do this. The good thing about technology now is that they got voicemails, they got text messages, and sometimes we feel like we're obligated to answer them back right away, but because it's technology, you don't have to. And you gotta give yourself permission to you gotta literally sometimes tell yourself out loud like, hey, I give myself permission to not reply right away, you know. And people might say, "Well, that's rude." Well, no, it's not, And then when you talk to the person later, "Hey, I was busy." You can talk, and then you can talk to the person the next day. You can talk to the person, 2 days later. Sometimes, Um, but because this is a close fan, maybe give them a couple hours before to get yourself together, get yourself prepared to be able to feel ready to talk to them, feel ready to approach them. Um, and then you talk for as long as you can tolerate it, and then you end the conversation. You know, um, but you want to stay on topics that's not going to trigger you. Stay on topics that's going to be, kind of neutral, and then end the conversation. So and hopefully this is not a person that calls more than once a day, more than once a week. If they are, then this is you're going to have to train people to know that like, hey, hey, I'm busy. At this point in time, even if you're not, make start making yourself busy. Find something around the house to do. Pick up a new pick up a new group to join. There's something called Meetup. They got free virtual groups that you can join, free virtual interest groups you can join, which will bring me to my next thing. Get yourself around positive interests. So um, one thing that sparked put some energy back inside of me. When I was feeling depressed, most recently, it was like my love for public service, giving back to people. I was on a conversation with on a Zoom conversation. Yeah, it's okay to just to stay busy. Yeah, it's okay to stay busy. Um, and it's just okay to stay busy too. So it's okay just to stay busy and say you're busy at the same time. Now, yeah. So what sparked my sparked some energy? Yeah, you're very welcome. Um, So what sparked some energy back inside of me was I was on a Zoom call meeting, and someone's talking about nonprofit work, and like and that really put some life back inside of me. I was like, wow, nonprofit work, like I never really thought about nonprofit work. I never really thought about getting into nonprofit work and doing something for free, to help people. And I was like, wow, that sounds cool. Like maybe I can think of some stuff that I would like to do to give back to the community. And because like with that, you're not really obligated. You're not really have to show up to work on time. None of that. Where I'm located in Milwaukee. I'm located in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, not very far from Kenosha. So Kenosha was in the news just recently, real big situation. So I'm not very far from Kenosha. Um, so like I'm personally, as far as the nonprofit work, giving back stuff that I'm kind of looking at is I'm looking with working with mental health awareness, such as what I'm doing right now. So just and sexual trauma. So I want to do stuff with sexual trauma awareness as well. So we're in Pennsylvania. So the PA, I traveled to Pennsylvania before. Pennsylvania is very awesome. I like Pennsylvania. So yeah, so yeah, this yeah, so we have to definitely look at different things that we are passion interests, things that we can find ourselves passionate about. Get those, do those things that give us purpose and meaning, and those things are like quickly take us like out of like depression like that, because then you're too interested. I went to Pittsburgh, and so I've been to Pittsburgh before, so yeah, yeah, I really liked it in Pennsylvania when I traveled there before. Yeah, so yeah, so biblical base. Uh, am I looking to do biblical based work? Is that the question? Um, okay, so yeah, I see you say biblical base. Okay, 3 hours away. Okay, you're 3 hours away. Cool. 3 hours away from Pittsburgh. Cool. Okay, and yeah, regarding depression. Okay. So biblical base, I feel like I got a very universal um message on depression, because I come from like personal experience, having like dealing with it, and I continue to find ways to manage it, whenever I see the cycle of it coming back, but I also have some biblical ways, I can approach it as well, having because I do come from a a biblical Christian background as well. But what I learned is that you know um, personal versus spiritual. It's we spiritual creatures. We are spiritual creatures. Um, we are as well as physical, and the two you can't separate the two. You know, and but so when one, like you have to be able to nurture the spirit, and you have to be able to also speak to the physical. So real life. Yeah, real life. Yeah, real life. Issues are real. They are real. Issues are very real. And that's that's the thing that many people who sometimes just don't, I guess they don't have the ability to emphasize with you, or sympathize, or don't have any compassion,